morning po sa lahat ng mga kadete nationwide in Luzon, Visayas, San Mindanao, especially po sa lahat po na nagsi-self-review yung kapos po sa pera na hindi po nakapag-enroll sa mga review centers. Magandang umaga po sa inyo and welcome po sa episode 2 sa subject na criminal procedure and court testimony. Welcome po din natin lahat po ng mga non-criminology graduates who are listening right now, who are watching in this video. Maraming salamat po sa pagtangkilik sa Bitcoin. Mga kadete, non-criminology graduates, tapos na po tayo sa episode 1. We need to chunk the topics into different episodes considering ng criminal procedure and court testimony. Napakataas po ng mga topics based on the table of specification set by PRC. Kaya nga po, dapat i-divide natin ito in different topics. Sa episode 1 po, by the way, wag po kayong mag-jump diretso sa episode 2 ha. Dapat you have to watch the first episode knowing that yung topic sa first episode, kailanganin natin yan para intindihin natin yung mga subsequent topics. Okay? Sa episode 1, pinag-usapan natin yung mga preliminary topics, jurisdiction of different courts. Importante yun, mga kadete. Okay? So kung baguhan ka pa lang po and you jump directly to this episode, balik muna kayo. Search nyo muna yung episode 1 in this subject. Okay? Sa part po na ito, ang pag-usapan natin will be exclusive on the rights of the accused during trial under Rule 115. Lahat po, rights, yung karapatan ng akusado. Okay? Una, right to due process. Okay? Ano ba ang right to due process? This is a constitutional guarantee that would say or that says na dapat ang government must act fairly. When you say act fairly, dapat walang bias, walang kinikilingan, dapat walang prejudice yung government against the accused. Dapat fair, just, or impartial. Pangalawa, dapat ang government must follow established legal procedures. When we say established legal procedures, ito yung mga steps. Ito yung mga steps na dapat sundan po. Ito yung steps that the government must follow. And these steps are found in different laws. Okay? Ibig sabihin, in a very plain and simple explanation, dapat ang steps po, ang procedures na susundin, dapat yung mga procedures na naaayon sa batas. Yon. So, kailanganing ang government must act fairly, follow established legal procedures before ang government will deprive any person of his life or will deprive any person of his liberty. When you say liberty, ito yung freedom, or before i-deprive or i-seize yung property ng isang tao. Okay? Ang karapatan na ito ensures fair treatment through notice. Ano ibig sabihin ng true notice? Ibig sabihin, dapat na-notify. Okay, na-notify yung akusado about the accusation. Okay? An opportunity to be heard. Dapat ang akusado andon sa trial, dapat present siya, dapat makapag-present siya ng sarili niyang argumento. Okay? And a neutral tribunal. Ano ibig sabihin ng neutral tribunal? Yung korte. Tribunal refers to the court. Okay? Korte na dapat walang kinikilingan. Ito yung korte na hindi bias. Ito yung korte na neutral. Ito yung korte na walang prejudice. Okay? So, right to due process. Ano ibig sabihin dyan? Ibig sabihin na dapat ang government po must act fairly and follow the established legal procedures before the government will deprive any person sa kanyang buhay, sa kanyang freedom, at sa kanyang property. Okay? Now, mga kadete, ang rights to due process, dalawa po yung aspeto dyan. Una, yung intrinsic validity. Titingnan yung intrinsic validity ng batas. Okay? Paano malalaman natin na valid intrinsically yung batas? Valid siya intrinsically pag ang batas is fair and reasonable. Okay? Ang tawag dito, substantive due process. For example, let us say, mag-pass ng batas ang Kongreso that will require a person of a certain amount before he will be allowed to marry. Ibig sabihin, siguro, example na lang, i-require ang isang tao ng 1 million sa bank account before he will be allowed to be married. Okay? Let us say that bill was passed and then that bill was made into law because it was signed by the executive department. It was signed by the president. Naturally, of course, the bill will become a law. That will require 1 million peso of a person before he will be married. Even if it is passed, even if it follows a procedure of becoming a law, knowing that such law is not fair and not reasonable, basically ikis yan. Bakit ikis siya? Kasi nga po, ang batas na yan interferes with the fundamental right of a person to get married. Okay? Ang tawag po dito, in finding out the intrinsic validity of the law, ang tawag po dito is substantive due process. Pangalawa, pag legal procedures or established legal procedures ang pag-usapan, ang due process po ay tinatawag na procedural due process. Okay? Pag legal procedures yung pinag-usapan. Okay? For example, ang government must hear first the case of a person before it condemns. Ano ibig sabihin? Before you say that the person is a criminal, you have to undergo first the person into trial for him to be allowed to present his argument. Okay? Before you condemn, dapat mag-trial ka muna. Dapat you hear muna yung side ng akusado. Proceeds upon inquiry and only renders decision or judgment only after the trial. And dapat po yung judgment na yan is basically based on the evidence presented therein. Okay? Ano pong tawag sa due process na yan? Procedural due process. Okay? Now, ang requirements po, dito ako mag-concentrate sa procedural due process. Ang requirements po of procedural due process are the following. Okay? Una, dapat ang akusado must have been heard by a court of competent jurisdiction. Ibig sabihin, when we say competent jurisdiction, as I have stated in the first episode, pag nag-jump kayo sa episode na to, balik kayo ha sa first episode. Magiging competent lang po ang isang korte. May competent jurisdiction po ang korte pag ang korte na yan has legal authority and power to hear and decide a particular case. Okay? Para po sa discussion ng jurisdiction of the courts, para maging competent jurisdiction, doon po kayo sa episode 1. Okay? For example, lagyan na lang natin ng example. Nag-file ng complaint, okay? Gumawa ng information yung prosecutor. Ibinigay yung information sa regional trial court. Tapos yung regional trial court conducted a trial on a particular case, not knowing na ang krimen pala that was been committed was less than 6 years of punishment or 6 years imprisonment. Ang tanong ngayon, may competent jurisdiction ba yung RTC sa krimen punishable by less than 6 years? Ang sagot, hindi. Kasi nga po, pag below 6 years, saan ba yung, pag 6 years and below, saan ba yung jurisdiction? Ang may jurisdiction dyan, yung mga first level courts, yung MTC, Municipal Trial Court, Municipal Circuit Trial Court, Metropolitan Trial Court, di ba yun ang sabi ko sa episode 1? Okay, so, to review, balik po kayo sa episode 1 ha. So again, dapat ang akusado has been in a trial, he has been heard by a court na yung korte na yan dapat may competent jurisdiction. Pangalawa, he must have been proceeded against under orderly process of the law. Ibig sabihin, yung paghandle sa accused must be in accordance to the established legal proceedings or legal procedures. Pangatlo, he may be punished only after inquiry and investigation. Natural. Hindi naman pwedeng punishment una before yung inquiry and investigation. Dapat yung punishment should come after the inquiry and investigation. Pang-apat, there must be notice to the accused. Ano ibig sabihin dyan? Ibig sabihin that the person charged with a crime, dapat he must be properly informed of the case, and then he can only be properly informed of the case through a complaint or through an information. Anong pinagkaiba ng complaint or information? Yung complaint, sabi ko po, is a written accusation that is furnished by the complainant. Yung information, ito yung written accusation furnished by the prosecutor. Mga akusasyon yan in writing. How will the accused be notified? Man-notified siya through a complaint or through an information. Pag hindi siya na-notified, is it in accordance with the procedural due process? The answer is no. Mali. Kasi nga po, how can you defend yourself if you do not know the accusation against you? Or how can you defend yourself if you do not know the accusation made against you? So dapat you are notified first. Okay? In what way? Through a complaint or information. Sino yung gumawa ng complaint? Complainant. Sino yung gumawa ng information? Yung prosecutor. Panglima, the accused must be given an opportunity to be heard. Okay? Very easy. Pag na-receive mo na yung complaint, ano ang i-pass mo? Ano ang i-submit mo? O di yung counter affidavit mo? Okay? So, you undergo a trial. If there is an accusation, you defend yourself. Probably by issuing an affidavit or probably by testifying on your behalf in court. In order for you to be given the chance to be heard about your argument. Okay? Number 6, judgment must be rendered within the authority of a constitutional law. Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ibig sabihin, plain and simple lang. Any court decision must be based and must be fully consistent with the Constitution and valid laws. Ibig sabihin, ano ito Constitution? Constitution, ito yung tinatawag nating it is a law that where all the laws are patterned upon. Ito yung fundamental law of the land. Lahat ng ginagawang batas natin, Republic Acts, Presidential Decrees, Executive Numbers, Memorandum Orders, dapat naaayon yan sa Constitution. Okay? Dapat ang judgment, dapat ang decision made by the court must be constitutional and must be consistent with the existing laws. Okay? Yun ang pang-anim na requirement. Okay? I hope naintindihan po natin yung right to due process. Okay? Right to due process, just understand the concept. Right to due process, ibig sabihin, ito yung constitutional guarantee natin na ang government must act fairly against the accused and must follow established legal procedures before the government will deprive a person of his liberty or his property or his freedom. Okay? Sana naintindihan. Sa lahat po ng mga self-review dyan, mag-jot down notes po kayo ha. Pag may Bitcoin book kayo, doon kayo mag-jot down. Okay? Sa wala pong Bitcoin book, please order. I tell you, it's very useful on your part. Sa lahat po ng walang Bitcoin book dyan na magre-review for the upcoming CLA. Alright? So, pangalawang karapatan ng isang tao, presumption of innocence. Ano ibig sabihin ng presumption? Presumption from the word presume. Nag-assume ka. Okay? You are believing on something. Okay? Presumption of innocence means that the presumption must be overcome by evidence of guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Plain and simple, ganito lang po. If a person committed a crime, the person is deemed to be innocent unless his innocence is overcome by evidence of guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? Anong ibig sabihin ng guilt beyond reasonable doubt? Means that there is moral certainty as to the guilt of the accused. Ibig sabihin, pag moral certainty, talagang siguradong-sigurado, walang ni isang doubt that is present that will make a person hesitate whether a person is really guilty or not. Talagang walang doubt dyan. Okay? Walang doubt. Guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Talagang walang single hesitation. May moral certainty that this person is really guilty of the accusation. Guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Pero pag wala pang guilt beyond reasonable doubt, or if you were not proven through evidence beyond the through evidence on guilt beyond reasonable doubt, the person is still deemed to be innocent. Okay? Inosente pa po siya unless may ebidensya na nagpapatunay na talagang siya yung pumatay, siya yung nagnakaw, and this evidence can prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Ano ibig sabihin ng guilt beyond reasonable doubt? May moral certainty. When you say moral certainty, talagang sigurado ka na ang tao na ito is the one who committed the crime. Okay? Pangalawa, conviction should be based on the strength of the prosecution and not on the weakness of the defense. Ano ibig sabihin no? Plain and simple, napaka-easy lang mga kadite. Actually, ano lang to, it can be understood easily, right? Ano ibig sabihin ng last na sentence? Ibig sabihin, the burden of proof lies on the prosecution. Okay? So, the prosecution can only make the accused guilty of the accusation once the prosecution can prove to the court that he was really the one, or that the accused was really the one who committed the crime. This can be done again through the presentation of evidence. Evidence that can prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And not simply because the defense failed to present a strong case. So, ang basihan dito is not basically more on the evidence presented by the accused, but rather on the evidence presented by the prosecution. The burden of proof lies on the prosecution and not on the accused side. Kasi yung prosecution siya yung nag-a-accuse eh. So dapat ang burden of proof of proving that the person who is the accused really committed a crime, nasa prosecution yan. Kahit kulang-kulang yung evidence ng accused, dapat ang prosecution must present a strong case that will make the may accused become guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? So, yun po ang ibig sabihin sa last sentence po natin. So, pag presumption of innocence, anong ibig sabihin? Ang taong nag-commit ng krimen, considered siya as inosente until yung pagka-inosente niya is already overcome by evidence that can prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Okay? Sunod. May mga exceptions tayo sa presumption of innocence. Okay? Ibig sabihin, kailan po ang isang tao magiging hindi siya presumed to be innocent? Okay? Hindi siya presumed innocent. Una, if there is a reasonable connection between the fact presumed and the fact ultimately proven such fact. For example, when an accountable public officer fails to account for funds or property that should be in his custody, he is presumed to be guilty of malversation. Presume siya of guilty of malversation. Ang pagkakamali dito, public officer siya, hindi niya na-account lahat ng funds or property that is entrusted to him. Presume siya na guilty siya ng malversation. Exception po ito sa presumption of innocence. Pangalawa, person in possession of recently stolen goods are presumed guilty of the offense in connection with the goods. Di ba mga kadete, may tinatawag tayong PD 1612? I-jot down nyo po yan. Okay? I-jot down nyo po yan as one of your notes. PD 1612. Ano ba itong PD 1612? Tinatawag itong anti-fencing law. Ano itong anti-fencing law? Pag ang isang tao has in his possession a particular stolen property, even if he does not know, the absence that it was a stolen property is irrelevant in the anti-fencing law. Ibig sabihin, kahit hindi mo alam, liable ka pa din. For example, nagbili ka ng cellphone worth 1,000 pesos only to find out that that cellphone was actually a product, a stolen item. The moment you have it in your possession, I presume ka na guilty in violation of PD 1612. Okay? Presumed ka na. Kahit wala pang evidence that will prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt, the moment that you have possession of the stolen property, pasok na po. presume ka na as a person who committed in violation of PD 1612 or anti-fencing law. Okay? So again, ito po ang mga examples natin under number 1. Pangalawa, itong another exception is self-defense. Okay? Ang isang tao or isang akusado who invokes self-defense is presumed guilty of the accusation. Okay? For example, ang accusation dito is homicide. Tapos sabi ng accused, may ano siya, I acted based on self-defense. Ibig sabihin, when the accused admits killing or injuring another person but claims self-defense, they are in effect admitting the act. Ibig sabihin, the person is admitting that he killed somebody or he hurt somebody but under the impulse or under the principle of self-defense. Okay? And because of this, ang batas po places on them the burden of proving, places the burden of proving on the part of the accused that the act was considered to be justified. So, ibig sabihin, plain and simple, nawawala po yung presumption of innocence. Presumption of innocence against homicide or murder. Kasi nga po, nag-invoke kayo ng self-defense. Let us say, homicide case yan. Nag-iinuman kayo, nagalit ka, you stab a person to death, namatay siya. Pagkamatay siya, you tell the court, Your Honor, I did it because of self-defense. Ibig sabihin, when you evoke your self-defense, it is already an admittance that you are guilty of homicide. Presumed guilty ka na sa homicide. Only thing is, you need to prove to the court that the killing was justified. Okay? Kuha niyo po ba? So, ang self-defense is an exception to the presumption of innocence. I'm really trying my best. I hope everybody understand what I am saying right now. Okay? Pero pag may mga tanong po kayo, may comment section dito. You can post your questions. Okay? So, pag nag-invoke ang akusado ng self-defense, presume guilty siya of homicide. Only thing is, he must prove to the court na yung killing is justified. Right? So, ang mangyayari, magkaroon ng tinatawag nating reverse trial. Alright? Ano ba itong reverse trial? Basahin natin ha. Usually, the prosecution presents its evidence to establish the guilt of the accused first. Dapat, ang usual manner, dapat present yung prosecution kasi nasa kanila yung burden of proof eh. Mag-present sila sa korte to prove na itong taong ito, guilty siya sa pagpatay. Pero again, reverse trial ang mangyari. Mangyari ito if the accused admits the killing but claims self-defense. Okay? He must first establish the elements of self-defense in order to overturn the presumption that he was guilty of the offense. Ganito ha, pag nag-claim ka po or nag-invoke ka ng self-defense, presume ka na nag-guilty ka sa homicide. Okay, example lang po ha, nag-invoke ka ng self-defense. Presume ka na guilty ka ng homicide. Magkaroon ng reverse trial. Bakit reverse trial? Kasi nga po, instead of proving that you are innocent of homicide, i-prove mo muna na justified yung self-defense mo. Kasi pag hindi mo na-prove na justified yung self-defense mo, maging guilty ka with homicide. Pero pag na-prove mo na self-defense, okay, self-defense yung ginawa mo in the killing of somebody, natural, you will be considered innocent of the accusation. Yan po ang ibig sabihin ng reverse trial. Ano yung reverse trial? Ang reverse trial is that i-establish mo muna, i-prove mo muna na justified yung killing. Establish mo muna yung elements of self-defense, tapos para ma-overturn para mawala yung presumption na guilty ka of homicide or guilty ka sa accusation. Right? Next. Right to be present at the trial. Ito, napaka-basic. Okay? Ano ibig sabihin dito? Na at any stage of the criminal proceedings, kasali na po dito yung evidence presentation, selection of the jury or the judge, sentencing to hear evidence, confront witnesses, assist their... Lahat po, plain and simple. In all of the stages of the criminal proceeding, you have the right to be present. Okay? The right ensures the accused can participate in their own defense and it can be waived if they voluntarily absent themselves. Ibig sabihin, pwedeng ma-waive mo. Okay? Sa anong pamamaraan, ma-waive mo po yung right. Ibig sabihin ng ma-waive, ma-surrender mo yung right. Ibig sabihin, hindi mo i-practice. Okay? Pwede mo pong hindi i-practice. May karapatan kang to be present at the trial, pero may choice ka din not to attend. Okay? Depende yan sa iyo. If you voluntarily become absent on the trial, walang problema yan. Unless your attendance is compulsory or obligatory. Okay? May tinatawag tayong trial in absentia. Ano ibig sabihin ng trial in absentia? Meaning, a legal proceeding where the accused person is tried in court, nagkaroon ng trial, even though they are not physically present. Ibig sabihin, continue yung trial, nagka-trial sa korte, you are represented by a counsel there at the court, continue yung trial kahit wala ka. Okay? Kailang magiging valid yung trial in absentia? Trial in absentia, ibig sabihin absent ka ha. Kailan magiging valid? May 3 tayong requirements. Una, dapat yung accused na arraigned na po siya. Ano yung arraignment mga kadete? Ito yung panahon na binabasa yung accusation against the accused tapos mag-enter siya kung guilty ba siya or innocent. Okay? Please familiarize the terms ha. Ito yung panahon na magbasahan siya sa kanyang accusation, sa kanyang nagawa, and then he has to enter whether he is guilty or innocent of the accusation. Okay? Dapat na-arraign na siya. Pangalawa, dapat na-notify siya about the schedule of the trial. Pangatlo, his failure to appear at the trial is unjustifiable. Unjustifiable, ibig sabihin wala siyang reasonable justification sa kanyang pagiging absent. Let us say for example, ba't naging absent yung akusado? Nag-absent siya kasi nga po nagbabakasyon eh. Ang pagbakasyon, justifiable ba yan? Unjustifiable yan. Pag mayroon tayong requirements 1, 2, and 3, present silang lahat, pwedeng mag-proceed yung korte, mag-trials ang korte kahit wala ang accused. Pero pag present lang yung number 1, number 2, na-arraign na yung accused, notified na yung accused about the schedule of the trial, pero justifiable yung pagka-absent niya. Let us say for example, nag-absent siya kasi he was into accident and he was into coma. Na-coma siya eh. O na-aksidenta siya, o nagkasakit siya. Natural, justifiable reason yun na hindi siya pwede makapagdalo sa trial. Ang tanong ngayon, pag magta-trial ang korte, valid ba yun pagta-trial ng korte kahit wala yung accused? Ang sagot, hindi. Kasi nga po, justifiable yung rason. Okay? Pwede lang pong mag-trial in absentia ang korte pag unjustifiable yung reason sa pagka-absent ng isang akusado. Sabi ko kanina, pag nagbabakasyon lang yung akusado, natural, pwede makapag-proceed kasi ano naman yan eh, unjustifiable reason naman yan. Pero pag again, na-aksidenta siya, nakasakit siya, justifiable ba yon para maging absent? Justifiable. Pwede ba mag-proceed ang korte on a trial na wala ang accused? Hindi. Hindi magiging valid yung trial in absentia. Okay, next. Can the right to be present at the trial be waived? Pwede ba siyang ma-waive? Yes. Again, ito yung sabi ko kanina, pwede. Pero may mga pagkakataon na hindi ka po pwedeng mag-absent. Hindi ka pwedeng mag-absent. Dapat present ka kasi requirement yun eh. Ano? Sa anong sitwasyon? Una, arraignment. Ano ito arraignment? Doon po binabasahan ka sa accusation and you will enter your plea kung guilty ka ba or hindi. The court will say, what is your plea? And you will say, not guilty, Your Honor. Okay? So, yun, arraignment yun. Sa arraignment, natural, kasi ikaw yung mag-enter ng plea mo, whether you are guilty or not guilty, natural, dapat present ka. Posible naman yung other people will be joining. Dapat ikaw present ka. During promulgation of judgment, except it is for light offense. Napakaklaro. Ibig sabihin mga kadete, requirement po yung presensya mo, requirement po yung presence mo during judgment. Okay? Dito na po, i-render yung decision kung guilty ka ba or hindi. Okay? Pero sa light offense, ano itong light offense? Basic kayo ha. Light offense, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga krimen, punishable po siya ng 1 day to 30 days. Okay? 1 day to 30 days or 1 month basically. Kasi aresto minor. Pag punishable siya ng aresto minor, light offense yan, pwede siyang mag-absent during the promulgation of judgment. Pero pag aresto mayor siya, papuntang reclusion perpetua or life imprisonment, ay kailanganing during judgment present yung akusado. Next, when the presence of the accused at the trial is necessary for purposes of identification, unless he admits beforehand that he is the same person charged. Natural. I-identify kung ikaw ba yung taong ito being accused of this crime. Natural, dapat present ka kasi ikaw yung i-identify. Okay? Unless beforehand or before it was been done, na-identify ka na and you tell the court that you are the same person. Pero pag hindi pa, dapat i-identify ka, dapat natural present ka. Mandatory yung presensya mo. Okay? Yun, right to be present at the trial. Sunod, mga kadets, dito tayo sa right to counsel. Ano itong counsel? Counsel means to get a lawyer. Ito yung lawyer natin. Means that a person has the legal right to be assisted and presented by a lawyer during criminal proceedings or investigation. Ang tanong, pag wala kang pera, wala kang pera wala kang perang pang-review and you have been accused of a crime, natural, wala kang capability, wala kang financial capability or capacity to hire for a private lawyer. Tama? Kulang-kulang yung pera mo So ano ang gagawin? Ang gagawin po, ang government will provide you with one. Sa anong paraan? Through the Public Attorney's Office or the PAO. Okay? Yung Public Attorney's Office will provide you with a counsel. Pero pag may pera ka, kasi hambog ka may may 5 million ka sa account mo So pag mapera ka, natural, you can hire your own lawyer. May karapatan ka dyan. Okay? Sunod, when should the right to counsel be invoked? The right to counsel may be invoked at any stage. Okay? At any stage of the proceeding. Even on appeal. Okay? At any stage of the proceeding. Dapat you can invoke your right to counsel. Yung karapatan mo sa pagkuha ng abogado. However, again, just like other rights, pwede itong ma-waive. Pwede itong hindi ma-practice. Okay? The accused is deemed to have waived his right to counsel when he voluntarily submits himself to the jurisdiction of the court and proceeds with his defense. Okay? Pero ganito, ito yung flip side dito The accused can only defend himself in person only if the court is convinced that he can properly protect his rights even without the assistance of a counsel. Ibig sabihin, let us say, i-waive mo. Sabihin mo yung korte, Your Honor, hindi na po kailanganing magkaroon ako ng abogado. Titingnan mo ngayon ng korte kung talagang makapag-defend ka sa karapatan mo kahit walang abogado. Okay? Kasi pag hindi convince yung korte, ay natural, hindi yan i-allow ng korte. Okay? Pero in some other cases, let us say for example, abogado ka and you have been accused of a crime. Abogado ka ikaw bright ka matalino kang abogado ka. Kailanganin mo pa ba yung assistance ng counsel? Kailanganin mo pa ba yung services ng another abogado? Hindi na kasi magaling ka So you have to tell the court, Your Honor, i-waive ko yung right ko to counsel kasi po magaling akong abogado Natural yung korte magsasabing, okay, fine, walang problema yan kasi yung korte is convinced that you can defend yourself because in the first place, abogado ka Okay? Pero kahit abogado ka, pwede ka pa din po sa karapatan to counsel. Kahit abogado ka, may karapatan ka pa din pong kukuha ng ibang abogado para mag-abogado sa'yo. Yon. Pero pag hindi, ayaw mo kasi para makasave ka, ikaw lang yung mag-abogado sa sarili mo, then fine, pwede mo pong ma-invoke. So long, of course, again, you can convince the court that you can properly protect your right. Okay? Pero pag hindi ka abogado, let us say, high school graduate ka lang, sabihin mo sa korte, Your Honor, I would like to waive my right to counsel. Sabihin ng korte, gago ka. Hindi ka makapag-protect sa right mo. So, sabihin ng korte, you need a counsel through the public attorney's office pag hindi ka makapag-afford. Alright? Does the mistake of counsel bind the client? Okay. Anong ibig sabihin nito? Mali kang pagpili Mali yung pinili mo. Nasa maling tao ka, Brad. Ay, nako. Saklap yan. Nasa maling tao ka. Nasa maling abogado ka. The client cannot question a decision on the ground that the counsel was an idiot. Ang klarong-klaro. Hindi pwedeng i-question mo yung judgment ng korte. Sabi ng korte, you have been found guilty of the crime, blah, 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 blah. You cannot go to the court and will say, Your Honor, I'd like to question the decision kasi gago yung abogado ko eh. Yung abogado ko, dal eh. Hindi mo pwedeng sabihin yan. Okay? Hindi po siya valid. Unless, yung abogado mo is a fake lawyer. Okay? Nalaman mo, nakapag-decide na yung korte na guilty ka. But then later on, it was found out na yung abogado mo, fake lawyer pala. Hindi pala siya totoong lawyer. Anong mangyayari dyan? Ay entitled ka to a new trial. Okay? Entitled ka sa magkaroon ng bagong trial. Kasi nga po, yung karapatan mo to counsel was been violated kasi hindi competent counsel mo hindi pala abogado. Okay? Yun po. Pero abogado siya, you cannot tell the court, Your Honor, I would like to object on the decision kasi yung abogado ko hindi marunong. Ang liit-liit ng passing sa bar exam, Your Honor So I would like to contest on your decision. Ay, hindi pwede yon. Except again, pag yung abogado mo fake pala, kaya magkaroon ng new trial. Pero pag hindi, wala na. Babay na. Sunod. Is the right to counsel absolute? Absolute ba siya? Hindi. Okay? The right of choice must be reasonably exercised. Okay? Bakit po hindi siya absolute? Kasi nga po, hindi ka pwedeng mag-insist sa kagustuhan mo in terms of the selection of the counsel. For example, gusto mo talagang makapag-avail sa private lawyer. Sabihin mo ngayon, korte, dapat mag-provide kayo ng private lawyer na pinakamagaling. Si Attorney Topacio dapat ang ibigay nyo sa akin. Nako, may pera ka ba? Wala. Okay? So, kasi wala kang pera, doon ka. Pupunta ka sa PAO, Public Attorney's Office, para doon ka hingi ng tulong sa mga abogado nila. Okay? One who is not a member of the bar, or one who declines for a valid reason, such as conflict of interest. For example, pinuntahan mo si Attorney ABC. Sinabihan mo si Attorney ABC, Attorney, may karapatan ako to counsel. Dapat, ikaw yung pinipili ko. Dapat, para ma-follow yung right to counsel ko, dapat you have to agree that you will be the one to represent on my behalf. Tapos nag-decline yung attorney. Are you going to insist? Kasi nga po, right to counsel ka? May right to counsel? Hindi. Kasi nag-decline siya Ayaw niya Karapatan din niya yon na mag-decline sa yung offer. You cannot insist on getting a person who does not want to be your counsel. Okay? Ang interpretation dyan, plain and simple lang naman. Sa right to counsel, may karapatan ka sa pagkuha ng abogado mo na dapat naayon sa kapasidad mo financially. Pero pag wala ka, o di balik ka sa PAO. Okay? Sunod, right to be a witness on his own behalf. Ano ibig sabihin dito? Ibig sabihin, the accused in a case has the option to testify in court and tell their side of the story. No need to explain on that. That's very understandable. The testimony of an accused who testifies on his own behalf but refuses to be cross-examined will not be given weight. Napakaklaro niyan. So, ibig sabihin, pag mag-testify ka to defend your side in the court, tapos, nagsabi ka sa korte na, Your Honor, wag nyo na akong i-cross-examine na. Ano ibig sabihin ng cross-examination? Ibig sabihin na ang abogado sa kabilang parte, magtatanong siya. Sino ang tatanungin? Ikaw, i-cross-examine ka Pag direct examination, di ba, may tinatawag tayong direct examination, cross-examination, redirect examination, recross-examination. Sa direct examination, sino ang mag-i-examine sa'yo? Yung abogado mo. Cross-examination, sino magtatanong, mag-i-examine sa'yo? Yung abogado on the other party. Redirect, ibig sabihin, i-examine ka uli sa abogado mo. Recross, ibig sabihin, from the word re, i-examine ka uli sa abogado ng kabilang parte. So, pag nag-testify ka sa korte, pero ayaw mong ipa-cross-examine ka, sabihin mo ngayon sa korte, Your Honor, I don't like to be cross-examined. Ayaw kong tatanungin ako ng abogado sa kabilang parte. Ay nako, yung testimony mo, walang value yan. Yung testimony mo, walang weight. So, dapat you're going to allow yourself to be subjected to cross-examination para may value yung testimony mo. Okay? It will not have probative value because the prosecution was not given a chance to test the credibility of the testimony through cross-examination. Yun ang sabi ko kanina. Okay? Next, right against self-incrimination. O ito, common ito sa Senado at sa Kongreso, di ba? Ibig sabihin, you cannot force a witness or you cannot force an accused to say anything that could be used to prove their own guilt in a criminal case. When you say self-incrimination, you have the right to refuse to answer questions that will incriminate you or that will link you to the commission of a crime. Okay? So, pagtingin mo sa pag-analyze mo sa tanong, pag sumagot ka, ang sagot mo posibleng maging ground yan para maging liable ka on a crime, pwede you can invoke your right against self-incrimination. Okay? It covers testimonial compulsion. When you say testimonial compulsion, yung kinocompel ka, you are forced to give a testimony only and the compulsion to produce incriminating documents, papers, and chattels. When you see chattels, ito yung mga property. Okay? Pero may exception tayo dito mga kadete ha. Okay? The right cannot be invoked when the state has the right to inspect documents under its police power, such as documents of corporations. Ganito yan. Ang government po natin under its police power, they can actually require for the inspection of corporate documents. Ano example ng mga corporate documents? For example, itong financial records, books of accounts, or regulatory filings. Okay? So, in this situation, a corporation cannot invoke the right against self-incrimination. Bakit hindi siya makapag-invoke ng right against self-incrimination? Kasi nga po, ang government natin, ang estado natin, may karapatan kasi sila, may power kasi sila to inspect documents under its police power. Okay, ibig sabihin, may karapatan ba ang government to inspect your financial records? Yes. May authority ba ang document to inspect on your book of accounts? Yes. Yung mga regulatory filings natin na documents, for example, yung sa BIR natin na sinasubmit natin, para magbayad tayo ng buwis, yung mga ganyan, may karapatan ba ang government to inspect it? Yes. In this case, hindi ka pwede magsasabing, I have the right against self-incrimination. Okay? So sabihin ngayon ng government, let us say the government will issue subpoena juris tecum. I hope everyone is familiar. A subpoena juris tecum, it is a subpoena that will require a particular person to produce a certain document. So, wala kang choice. You have to produce the document. Okay? Yung isa, ad testificandum. Yung pag-testify. You are ordered to testify. Subpoena ad testificandum. Pero sa document, subpoena juris tecum. So, pag nasubpoena ka, you need to present. Corporate officers may be required to produce documents even if they may be considered as incriminating. Yung dokumento na yan could incriminate you on a particular crime, will link you on a particular crime. Wala kang magawa kasi nga po, yung dokumento na yan is under the authority for inspection by the government. Okay, yon exception yon. Okay? What is the rationale for protecting the right against self-incrimination? Una, humanitarian reason, to prevent the state with all its coercive powers from extracting testimony that may convict the accused. Pangalawa, practical reason. Kasi nga po, ang accused is likely to commit perjury if they are compelled to testify against themselves. Klarong-klaro yan. Sunod. Who may invoke the right against self-incrimination and when can they invoke the right? Una, ang pwede po makapag-invoke, sabi ko kanina, ordinary witness. Okay? If a question could incriminate them or would link them to a crime, witness ka lang, you can invoke your right against self-incrimination. Pangalawa, yung accused, pwede po. Pero, once the accused waive his rights and choose to testify in his own behalf, he may be cross-examined on matters covered in his direct examination. Klaro kayo? Ibig sabihin mga kadete, pag i-waive mo yung right against self-incrimination, ibig sabihin, sinagot mo ang tanong, kahit ang tanong will incriminate you. Ibig sabihin, you waive your right against self-incrimination. That is an indication that you are giving way of the government or for the government to cross-examine you. Ibig sabihin, binigyan mo ng oportunidad na ang government itanungin ka, i-question ka. Okay? On matters related to the issue being investigated. Pag tinanong ka na ngayon, kasi nag-waive ka sa right against self-incrimination, so nagsalita ka. Kaya yung iba dyan, kahit ilang tanong ang ibinigay, they will just keep on saying, I invoke my right against self-incrimination. Just to make them safe, just for them to be in a comfort zone. Okay? Para safe siya. Kasi pag nagsalita ka, wala ka ng kawala. Kasi nga po, i-cross-examine ka and you cannot refuse to answer during cross-examination. Okay? Hindi na po kapwedeng mag-refuse to answer. Kasi kine-cross-examine ka na eh. Okay? Yon ang ibig sabihin dyan. Pero during cross-examination, pag iba naman yung krimen, different from that which he was charged, natural, you can invoke your right and refuse to answer. For example, yung issue is on the killing, pero yung tanong is about robbery. Basically, you can invoke your right against self-incrimination kasi yung issue is killing eh. So, robbery is a separate crime. Okay? So, what is an incriminating question? Ano ba itong incriminating question? Plain and simple mga kadete, ito yung mga tanong na mag-force sa isang tao to give answers that could directly or indirectly show their involvement to crime. Anything, tanong na mag-link sa kanila in crime commission. For example, magtatanong, ilang bang bilyon ang ninakaw mo from the government? Natural, mag-a-answer ka ba ng 5 million lang naman? Hindi. You will say, I invoke my right against self-incrimination. Kasi pag nagsagot ka, tatanungin ka uli, you will be cross-examined and you will no longer have the chance to refuse to answer the question. Okay? Effect of the refusal of the accused to testify in his behalf. As a general rule, the silence of the accused should not prejudice him. Ano ibig sabihin ng not prejudice him? It will not cause harm. It is not disadvantageous. Not prejudice, ibig sabihin, it will not cause harm to him. Hindi siya nagbibigay ng disadvantage sa accused. Okay lang, walang problema lang. Okay? Kahit silent lang siya, okay lang, walang problema. Pero, in the following cases, the unfavorable inference is drawn from the failure of the accused to testify. Ibig sabihin, ng second sentence, ang ibig sabihin dito, pag silent ka lang, dihado ka. Okay? In the following cases. Dihado ka dito pag naging silent ka pa din. You have the right to remain silent. Okay, no problem. Ayaw mo mag-testify, mag-testify on your own behalf para hindi ka cross-examine. No problem. The court will allow it. Pero pag silent ka pa din, tapos andito na yung 1 at saka 2, patay ka. Yung decision will become disadvantageous on your part. Sa anong sitwasyon? Number 1. If the prosecution has already established a prima facie evidence or prima facie case. Ano ibig sabihin ng prima facie? Ibig sabihin, may ebidensya na very strong enough that could convict you. Prima facie, ibig sabihin, stand-alone evidence to prove that you are guilty. Example, may CCTV footage eh. Nakikita ka, ikaw yung nagnakaw. Okay? Ikaw yung nagnakaw. And then, silent ka pa din. Ay, nako, yung judgment dyan, Brad, yung decision dyan, maging unfavorable sa'yo. So, dapat, you need to speak. Ha? Para ma-overturn yung evidence ng prosecution. Dapat magsalita ka, Your Honor, hindi ako yan eh. Kakambal ko yan eh. Kasi pag silent ka pa din, yung korte mag-decide yan, unfavorable sa disadvantageous on your part. Okay? Pangalawa, if the defense of the accused is alibi. Ano to yung alibi? Sa legal parlance, tinatawag itong the weakest form of evidence. Ilagay nyo yan i-jot down notes nyo po yan. I-jot down nyo po yan mga kadete, ha? Alibi is the weakest form of evidence. Ang accused, ang depensa niya may alibi siya and he does not testify. The interference is that the alibi is not believable. Pag nag-alibay ka, dapat mag-testify ka. Okay? Kasi pag nag-alibay ka, pero di ka naman nag-testify, o natural, hindi believable yung alibay mo. For example, let us say, you will say, alibay ko, Your Honor, nung nakumit ang krimen, wala ako sa crime scene. I was not the one who committed it because the crime was committed in Barangay 1 and I was in Barangay 2 during that time. Di ba? Alibay yun. If you will not testify and you will not allow yourself to be cross-examined, ang interpretation dyan is that yung alibay mo, hindi siya believable. Para maging believable yung alibay mo, dapat you need to speak. You need to testify that you were really absent at the crime scene when the crime was committed. Kasi pag hindi ka nag-testify, silent ka lang dyan, sad boy ka lang dyan, ay natural, ang korte will say, ay hindi believable yung alibay niya. O so, kailangan mag-testify ka. Okay? Alright? Yun po. I hope naintindihan mga kaditi ha. Sunod. Right of confrontation. Ito, maganda to. Means that the accused can only be tried using those witnesses that meet him face to face. Dapat andyan siya eh. Dapat na-meet niya personally. At the trial, who give testimony in his presence with the opportunity to cross-examine them. So, ibig sabihin, nag-testify yung witness sa kabilang parte. O natural, ikaw, may karapatan ka to confront them by cross-examining them. Ano ibig sabihin ng cross-examination again? Ibig sabihin, from one party, nag-question sa'yo. On the other hand, ikaw naman yung nagtanong sa other party. Nag-testify yung other party. Yung lawyer mo, tinatanong yung other party. Cross-examination pa din po yan. Okay? What are the reasons for the right to allow the court to observe the demeanor of the witness while testifying? Ano yung aura niya? To give the accused the opportunity to cross-examine the witness in order to test the recollection and credibility. Tingnan kung credible ba yung mga statements by the witness. So, i-cross-examine siya. And your lawyer can question the witnesses of the other party. Can the right of confrontation be waived? Yes, of course. It can be waived either expressly or impliedly. Okay? Waive impliedly siya when the accused waive his right to be present at the trial. Wala ka eh. Trial in absentia eh. Trial in absentia, na-arrange ka na-notify ka na sa schedule. Sabi mo, Your Honor, absent lang ako kasi may birthday party sa amin. Ay, hindi pwede yun. Unjustifiable yun. So, mag-proceed. Valid yung trial by absentia. Natural, it's an indication that you waive your right to confront the witnesses. Kasi absent ka eh. Natural. Paano ka makapag-confront? Absent. Nagbe-birthday party ka. The right of confrontation may also be waived by conduct amounting to renunciation of the right to cross-examine. When the party was given an opportunity to confront and cross-examine the opposing witness pero failed to take advantage of its reason attributable to himself alone, he is deemed to waive his right. Ibig sabihin, nag-testify na yung witness, ayaw mong magtanong, ayaw mong mag-cross-examine sa witness. It's an indication that you waive your right on confrontation. Okay? Ano naman ang mangyayari if the testimony or what happens to the testimony of a witness who dies or becomes unavailable? Namatay yung witness eh. Ha, di ba? Nag-testify siya. Pag-testify niya, kalaunan namatay siya, nagka-heart attack siya eh. Naging high blood, nagka-heart attack, namatay siya eh. Anong mangyari sa testimony niya? Dalawa ang posibleng mangyari. Pag na-cross-examine na yung witness, yung kanyang testimony will have weight, will have value, and it can be used as evidence. Kasi na-cross-examine na siya eh. Okay? Pero pag nag-testify yung witness, hindi siya na-cross-examine, tapos namatay siya, ay yung testimony niya, walang value yon, walang weight, walang probative value. Zero siya. Ibig sabihin ng probative, ibig sabihin, serving to prove or to test or to demonstrate a fact. Ibig sabihin ng probative value, nagdi-demonstrate ng fact or nagpo-prove on a certain issue. Wala siyang epekto. Kasi nga po, patay na patay tapos hindi siya na cross-examine. Pero kahit namatay siya, na cross-examine siya, pasok pa din yon, may weight pa din, may probative value pa din. Pero pag namatay siya, wala pa siya na cross-examine, wala, ikis yung testimony niya. Okay? Next, right to compulsory process. Ano naman ito mga kadete? The right of the accused to have subpoena ad testificandum or subpoena justicum issued in his behalf in order to compel the attendance of witnesses and production of other evidence. Ito kasi nangyari ngayon. Pag kukuha ka ng witness, talagang aayaw yung yung mga witnesses. Kasi nga po, ako nga, pag somebody will invite me to become a witness, of course I will say no. Because it's something that will provide threat on my security, right? And it could cause a lot of trouble on my part. Natural, I would say no. So, right to compulsory process, may karapatan po ang accused na mag-request po sa korte. Sabihin ng accused, hoy, Your Honor, pwede ba mag-issue ka ng subpoena ad testificandum para mag-testify siya? Pwede ba, Your Honor, mag-issue ka ng subpoena justicum para ma-produce yung dokumento? Ang pagkakaiba sa dalawa, simple lang mga kadete, pag subpoena ad testificandum, ito yung subpoena na mag-require sa isang tao na dapat mag-testify siya. Kasi pag hindi siya mag-testify, makontempt siya, mabigyan siya ng contempt of court. Or pangalawa, pag subpoena justicum, jot down notes kayo pag subpoena justicum, ibig sabihin, nare-require yung isang tao na mag-produce ng dokumento. Ayaw niyang mag-produce, natural, makontempt siya ng korte. So sabihan mo ngayon yung korte, Your Honor, si person ABC, yung kapitbahay namin, siya yung nakakita can you provide subpoena ad testificandum para mag-testify siya? Kasi pag ako, ayaw niya mag-produce yung korte. Yung kapitbahay, it's gonna be mandatory for him. Kasi makontempt siya So wala siyang choice. Mag-testify talaga siya. Yon. Okay? Next, right to speedy, public, and impartial trial. Okay. Right to speedy, public, and impartial trial. Ano ba ito? Okay? Speedy trial, ibig sabihin, dapat walang delay. Public trial, ibig sabihin, open to public. Pag open to public, anybody can attend. Okay? Anybody can attend. Impartial trial, ibig sabihin, neutral, hindi siya bias. Karapatan sa speedy, walang delay. Karapatan sa public trial, dapat open siya. Anybody can witness on the trial. And impartial, dapat yung trial natin, walang pabor-pabor. Okay? When should the arraignment and pretrial be held? Klarong-klaro It should be held 30 days from the date the court requires jurisdiction over the person of the accused. Ano ba ibig sabihin? Plain and simple. Pag ang korte may jurisdiction na siya over the case, for example, nangyari siya June 1, count ka ng 30 days. Okay? Within 30 days, from the date that the court requires jurisdiction, dapat magkaroon na po ng arraignment and pretrial. Okay? Arraignment and pretrial, if the accused pleads not guilty, should be held 30 days from the date the court acquires jurisdiction of the person of the accused. Okay? The moment you are the court and you have jurisdiction over the case, mag-count ka 30 days again mga kadete para magkaproceed ang arraignment at saka pre-trial. Ano yung arraignment? Dito po binabasa yung accusation mo, yung charges mo, and then inform kayong mga right mo, and then you need to enter your plea kung guilty ka ba or not guilty. Yung pre-trial, ito naman yung mandatory pa din po ito. Una po, para i-simplify yung issue, most importantly, ito po yung panahon sa pagmarka, pag-present ng evidence. I-mark yung evidence and then encourage settlement, amicable settlement para at least mapadali yung kaso. Sa pre-trial, pag magtanong ang board examination marking of evidence po, mangyari yan sa pre-trial. Simplification of the issue, mangyayari yan sa pre-trial. At saka yung encouragement na isettle na lang yung kaso, mangyayari yan sa pre-trial. Okay? So, ang tanong, how many days the trial should be completed? In no case shall the entire period exceed 180 days. So, dapat within 6 months lang ha, from the first day of trial. From the first day of trial, dapat within 6 months tapos na yan. Unless authorized by the administrator of the court. What is the remedy of an accused whose right to speedy trial is violated? For example, sa Pilipinas, aabot tayo ng 1 century. Ang tagal. Especially pag civil case, namatay na lang yung accused, namatay na lang yung complainant, hindi pa tapos yung kaso. Ang tagal. Mamasa pa nung masakir, ang tagal. Ang tagal. Kaso natin sa Pilipinas, aabot na ng 10 years yung detainee, andon pa rin, naka-preventive imprisonment. Kawawa naman, di ba? So, if in case, dapat 6 months lang, pero umabot ka na ng 10 years doon eh. O ano ang remedy mo? Una, mag-file ka ng motion to dismiss the case. Bakit po? On the ground of violation of your right to speedy trial. Okay? This must be done prior to trial or else it is deemed a waiver of the right to dismiss. Kailan gagawin ito? Prior to trial. Okay? Pero nagkaroon na ng trial, wala na po. Wala na. Waive na yun eh. So, dapat before trial po, gagawin po ang motion to dismiss. Pangalawa, pag hindi yung motion to dismiss, pwede ka po mag-file ng mandamos. Okay? Ang mandamos is to compel the court to dismissal of the particular information. Okay? Or number 3, if he is restrained of his liberty, ibig sabihin, detainee ka, pwede ka po mag-file ng habeas corpus. Okay? Or number 4, mag-follow up ka, you ask for the trial of the case para mapadali yung kaso mo. Okay? What is the limitation on the right of the accused to a speedy trial? Ganito kasi yan. Totoo po, aabot tayo ng century, aabot tayo ng ilang taon, supposedly di na aabot in 1 year. Pero again, may mga limitation kasi tayo. For example, delays in the proceeding which are justifiable. Example, mental competency exams, mga appeals, interlocutory. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga apila ng both parties or hindi available yung witnesses or necessary pre-trial motions or nagkasakit yung judge or may training yung judge or worst, ito yung worst mga kadete, nag-retire yung judge, hindi pa tapos yung kaso. So, ibalik naman, i-transfer naman on a new judge. Nako, aabot yan ng century. Mamatay na lang yung accused doon sa bilangguan. Wala pa din. Walang usad yung kaso. Wala tayong magawa dyan. Kasi nga po, ang kailanganin natin dito, proof beyond reasonable doubt or guilt beyond reasonable doubt. Alangan naman nating i-half-bake yung kaso. Okay? So, pag walang witnesses, natural, aabot tayo ng ang daming taon. So, yun lang. May mga remedy tayo. Motion to dismiss, mandamos, file for habeas corpus, or ask for the trial or follow up na lang. Okay? Punta naman tayo sa exception ng right to public trial. 'Di ba? Sabi ko kanina, anybody can witness on the trial. Pero may mga pagkakataon na hindi po siya open to public. So, anong pagkakataon? Pag sensitibo yung kaso. For example, rape. Pag rape yan, ay hindi pwedeng. Ang lahat can take a look or can witness. Hindi po siya open to public. Alright? Pag acts of lasciviousness, yon, mga sensitive na topic yan. Or pag minor yung involved. Pag minor, hindi po siya open to public ha. Private po yung hearing. Mga exception yan. Next, right to appeal. Right to appeal. I think if this is the last. Okay, right to appeal. I hope I give justice on your time ha. I hope natulungan ko po. Ito na po yung last. Right to appeal means that the person who has been convicted or adversely affected by a court decision has the legal right to ask a higher court to review the judgment. Ibig sabihin, pag guilty ka sa lower court, you can appeal and have your case be reviewed by a higher court. Example, Pag na-desisyonan yung kaso, guilty ka sa municipal trial court, pwede ka pong mag-appeal. Ano yung higher sa municipal trial court? Episode 1 ito ha. Episode 1 yan. Higher sa municipal trial court, yung regional trial court. Ni-review ng regional trial court ang kaso mo. Guilty ka ba din? Pwede ka pa din mag-appeal doon sa ano yung higher ng RTC, Court of Appeals. Pagdating sa Court of Appeals, ni-review yung kaso mo. Guilty ka pa din, Brad. O pwede ka na pong i-appeal pa din po sa last resort, yung korte, pinakataas na korte, Supreme Court. Pagdating sa Supreme Court, guilty ka pa din. So ano na mangyari? Pwede ka pa mag-appeal? Wala na. Kasi nga po, ang Supreme Court, yun na po ang pinaka-highest. So, pag guilty ka na, you have to enjoy your life in prison. Okay? Yun na. Pero, pag appeal mo, sabi ng lower court, guilty ka. Yung higher court, not guilty Ay, di. Okay yun. Sino yung masusunod? Natural, yung higher court. Sa MTC, guilty ka. Pero sa RTC, ang sabi, inosente ka. Sino ang paniwalaan dyan? Sino masusunod? Natural yung RTC. Kasi yung RTC mataas kaysa MTC. So, you enjoy your freedom. Okay? Note, when the accused flees after the case has been submitted to the court for decision, he will be deemed to have waived his right to appeal. Ibig sabihin, the court render a decision. Nag-escape ka. Pumunta ka abroad. You waive your right to appeal. Hindi ka pwedeng makapag-file. How is an appeal perfected? Una, ma-perfect po ang appeal within 50 days from the promulgation of the judgment. Ibig sabihin, pag June 1 na promulgate po yung judgment, binigay yung decision ng korte na guilty ka, bibigyan ka ng 15 days to appeal it into the higher court. So that you can enjoy your temporary freedom, magpiyansa ka or release on recognizance. Okay? Pero ang pinaka-common, magpiyansa ka para temporarily, you are enjoying your freedom. 15 days an appeal is perfected by filing a notice of appeal with the court in which the judgment or order was rendered. Saan ka mag-file ng notice of appeal? Doon sa korte na nagbigay ng judgment and by serving a copy thereof upon the adverse party or his attorney within a period for perfecting an appeal. Again, anong mangyari? Mag-file ka ng notice of appeal. Saan? Sa korte na nagbigay ng judgment. Pangalawa, dapat magbigay ka ng copy doon sa kabilang parte or sa kanyang attorney. Okay? When an appeal has been perfected, the court will try the case loses jurisdiction. Anong ibig sabihin dyan? Di ba? Napakasimple lang mga kadete. Ibig sabihin, pag na-perfect yung appeal, nakapag-appeal siya to a higher court, yung jurisdiction of the case belongs now to the higher court and no longer belongs to the lower court. Example, ang nag-render ng judgment ang MTC, natural ang may jurisdiction MTC. Pero nag-appeal yung akusado doon sa RTC. Na-perfect yung appeal within 15 days. Nakapag-appeal siya. Sino na ngayon ang may jurisdiction? Ang MTC o yung RTC? RTC na. Wala na yung MTC. Okay? Kasi nga po, ang magre-review dyan, yung regional trial court na. Yun po ang ibig sabihin sa last na sentence. Okay? Board exam question. Person ABC and XY were convicted of murder. Silang dalawa ang pumatay sa isang tao. Only ABC appealed from the conviction. Should the decision of the appellate court bind XY? Dalawa ang pumatay sa isang tao. Pero isa lang yung nag-appeal. Guilty silang dalawa, pero isa lang yung nag-appeal. Pag mag-decide yung higher court, will it affect XY? The answer is, it depends. If the decision of the RTC, for example, na-decide yung kaso doon sa RTC, guilty silang dalawa. Ang nag-appeal sa Court of Appeals, si ABC lang. Ano ang mangyari dyan? Pag mag-decide ang Court of Appeals, pag beneficial, ibig sabihin, ang Court of Appeals, ang sabi, inosente. Si ABC, naku, makapag-benefit yan doon kay XY. So, ibig sabihin, si XY maging inosente din, kahit hindi siya nag-appeal. Okay? Pero pag hindi beneficial yan ni XY, nako, walang epekto ang decision sa pag-appeal. Okay? It depends if the decision of the appellate court would be beneficial to XY, it should affect him. Pero pag hindi naman makapag-benefit, hindi binding yun. Okay? Example. So, sa RTC, guilty kayong dalawa of murder. Okay? Sabi ni ABC, ako lang yung mag-appeal, ikaw XY, hindi na. So sabi ng Court of Appeals, okay, it was been found out na walang merit yung kaso. May mga technicalities. Therefore, si ABC dapat i-release. Okay? Ang tanong, ang pag-release ni ABC, pwede ba beneficial kay XY? The answer is yes. So kasali din si XY sa pag-release kasi nga po, beneficial sa kanya. Pero pag hindi beneficial, hindi pabor sa kanya, ay walang bind yun. Okay? Can an appeal that has already been perfected by withdrawn by the appellant? Depende po. Okay? Nag-appeal ka na, nag-file ka na ng notice of appeal, but you change your mind. Your Honor, I change my mind, I will go to jail na lang. Ano mangyari? Pag ang records hindi pa po na-transmit doon sa higher court, okay? The court that rendered the judgment has the discretion to allow the appellant to withdraw the appeal. Pag hindi pa na-transmit yung record, for example, ang nag-render ng kaso yung MTC, nag-appeal within 15 days yung accused kasi guilty siya. Pero nag-change yung mind niya. Sabi niya, ay hindi na lang ako mag-appeal. Ano mangyari? Pag hindi pa na-transmit yung record, pwede yung MTC may discretion na i-withdraw na lang yung appeal. Pero pag na-transmit na yung record doon sa regional trial court, okay, or sa higher court, only the higher court or the appellate court can decide whether to grant the motion to withdraw the appeal or not. Dalawang mangyayari ha. Pag hindi pa na-transmit, o di ayong korte na nag-render ng decisions, may karapatan siya, may discretion siya to withdraw the appeal. Pero pag na-transmit na yung record, yung higher court na po yung magde-decide kung i-allow ba yung pag-withdraw. Okay? Yon po mga kadete. Yon ang mga rights of the accused during trial under Rule 115. I really hope that I was able to contribute a little maybe para po sa preparation nyo in the board examination. Maraming salamat mga kadete. God bless. God bless everyone.